Good afternoon. We're talking to Mara. Hope you guys do my show about the CFL and SHL. Oh, my coffee is cold. I have to go warm my coffee, guys. Give me a sec here. All right, sorry for loving, guys. Yeah. Ivan, how come TSN is not giving the CFL any more money per season? Because the CFL is not producing on their television service. They're not peaking any higher than like 500,000 people watching a game. The only thing the CFL does pretty good in is the Grey Cup. CFL Grey Cup, millions of people in Canada are tuning in to the game. Like they average like 60, they even peak at 10, even 11, 12 million people watching in the Grey Cup. But for the season games, they only peak at like 500,000 people watching. Obviously. So for the championship game, they're doing pretty good, obviously. But for the season games, they're only peaking at like 500,000 people in Canada watching the games. That's why TSN is not giving the CFL any more money. Yeah. For the CFL to get more money from TSN, I don't know, like 60 and another maybe extra, maybe 60, 65 million a season from TSN, 70 million a season, they have to be averaging like 1.52 million people watching, and TSN will give the CFL more money. The league more money per season. And if they do that, obviously TSN, the CFL could raise the cap obviously a bit more. Why? How much money does the CFL have to do for them to raise the cap to $9.5 million? The league has to be doing 500 plus million a season revenue. That's the key. Yeah, that's the key, obviously. Yeah, for them to raise the cap to $9 million. $9.5 million. That way they can pay the players more money. Obviously. Well, I could be wrong. Maybe in 20 years the league might grow to I highly doubt though, but maybe in 20 years the league might grow to $500 million. Well, I highly doubt it though. Chances are in 20 years the league might be doing maybe $330 million. You might have maybe 30 million of growth, like small substantial growth, man. Yeah, 20 years the league's only doing maybe $340 million in revenue. A little bit of growth, but it's not like $340 million they'll raise the cap to maybe 7 million. They're gonna give the players smaller raises. These CFL players to really get paid, they gotta raise the cap to at least that $9-10 million. That way these players can make double what they're making now. The CFL players. Yeah. Yeah, we're trying to get to that. That way we can pay the players more and we don't have to worry about losing the American. Even though this is not the dream, we don't have to worry about losing the American soccer players to the NFL. The American soccer players are making that in the CFL. They're going to decline NFL opportunities. If a receiver's making 500, 600K, 450K, they're going to decline NFL opportunities. They're making more enough money up here. That's a lot of money, obviously. All right, why do you think the American players are going to stay? Because they're making more than enough money up here. And it's risky if they leave to the NFL and they end up on a practice roster, they sit on the bench, or they get released, they come back, they might lose their job, and they don't get that check anymore. So it's like, it's risky. They have to think about their families. Like, some of these CFL star players have families, so you have to think about your family. Yeah, even though this was not my dream, I'm making my 450K, 500K as a star receiver. That's a lot of money for me. I'm not going to go to the NFL. I don't want to take that risk. They don't take that risk. And the quarterbacks won't. The quarterbacks won't leave if they're not making like 700K to 1.3, 1.4 million, 1.3 million dollars. They're not going to leave the NFL. They're making more than what they were making the NFL sitting on the bench, right? Obviously. So hopefully the league can grow. Because I know all you American CFL players think I'm an ass. Yeah, you're a fucking dick, man. Obviously. I know I'm a dick, guys, but like, I don't mean to be an asshole, right? This has been going on for decades, and your league is only peaking at $300 million. So obviously something's not right. But the fans that kind of obviously don't really care about Canadian football. They don't really care about the American star players. Go ahead, guys. Miss that now. Yeah. So CFL's trying. Yeah, CFL's trying to get. Yeah, we're trying. Our goal is to hit that $500, $600 million mark, Ivan. That way we can rate and boost our television ratings. That way we can pay the players more money. We don't have to worry about losing our American players to the NFL. Yeah. Obviously. They're struggling, obviously, right? Yeah. So, Ivan, it's tough for you to resonate with the CFL American legends. Yeah, a little bit, because I know this was not their dream. So it's weird to me. It's a little bit weird for me personally, right? That's why even though the Canadian football fans love these CFL legends, they don't really care about them that much. Because they know they're not stupid. They know this was not their dream. They're only here by default, guys. That's funny, I know. Yeah, they're only here by default. There you go. Had they been in the NFL, you never would have seen these guys CFL. They never would have been legends in your league. Like, and you want to grow the league with those guys CFL? Like, these are the guys who are your legends CFL. Like, yeah, like the fans respect them and they killed it up here. They respect them for what they did up here. They were legends up here. But like, they know this was not their dream, so it's tough to resonate with these guys, right? Like, yeah, all the legends, the American football legends CFL, their dream was not playing here, man. So it's very tough to resonate with a player who killed it up here, who's a legend up here, and the fans respect what they did up here, but like, you know, they never really want. They're legends in the league. They never wanted to play in. They're only playing in that league because they didn't get an NFL shot. They're here by default, so it's tough to resonate with those guys. And the CFL wants to grow the league with those guys, obviously, instead of the best Canadian, the greatest players in Canada, the greatest Canadian talent in Canada, and the players who are Canadian, who are from Canada, who actually dream of playing here and want to be legends up here in your league. But barely any Canadian football players in CFL are legends, because the majority of the star players are all the American guys. Are there Canadian football legends? I mean, yes, there is, like quite a few of them, but like there's like a majority of the legends in CFL are American guys. barely any Canadian football legends, except for the O-lineman, right? Quite a bit of a Canadian O-lineman getting inducted into the Canadian Football Hall of Fame in Canada. But they're not skill positions, so like no one really cares about the O-lineman, right? Yeah. Yeah. But I hope Nathan Rourke could be a CFL legend. Nathan Rourke can have an amazing CFL career and break a bunch of CFL records and be a CFL legend. The fans are gonna really love him as a legend, Nathan Rourke. But something tells me that if his performance dips, man, he's done. Obviously. And that's why the fans really respect Russ Jackson, because Russ Jackson was a starting Canadian quarterback. He was such rare quarterback talent in the 50s and 60s. He started for 12 seasons for his team, and he won like 1 or 2 Grey Cups. And he has like almost 30,000 passing yards. That's why the fans, he's so respected, obviously, because he was a starting Canadian quarterback in the 50s and the 60s in the CFL. And he's so respected because he actually started in the CFL as a Canadian quarterback for like 12 seasons. That's very tough to do as a Canadian quarterback, right? I told you in the CFL, if your performance dips as a Canadian player, you're pretty much done. You're not going to get, especially as a quarterback, you're not going to get an opportunity. And that's why Brandon Bridge retired, because he knew he wasn't going to get another opportunity because they got American bias. But Brandon Bridge was such a talent that they drafted him in the CFL. He was even eligible for the NFL draft. Brandon Bridge. He's a rare Canadian quarterback talent, but he signed with the Cowboys as an undrafted free agent, but he got released in training camp. Obviously, Brandon Bridge. And he played in the CFL, and he started for the first 6 games. He wasn't able to win. He was putting on a show on television, but he wasn't able to win games, obviously. And he quit. He retired. Yeah, because he knew he wasn't going to get another shot, man, at starting because of the American bias, man. If you get rid of the American talent, Brandon Bridge would have been a franchise quarterback CFL. He would have been putting on a show on television. CFL, you lost out on a lot of great Canadian talent. I'll get your American bias CFL, right? Even quarterbacks too. Obviously, yeah. Even waiting for I mean, you're right. If you got rid of the American talent, guys like Brad Sinopoli, Kyle Quinlan, Brandon Bridge, Nathan Rourke, Trey Ford, Jerry Darnell, that's 6 quarterbacks. Those guys would have been franchise. They would have been franchise quarterbacks. And they probably would have been amazing quarterbacks in the CFL. You got rid of the American talent. Yeah, they're not as talented. Well, Nathan Rourke is just as talented as the American quarterback. He's like arguably he's the best quarterback in the league, right? Obviously, these guys weren't putting on a show on television. Yeah, they would have, even, but they're not the American guys. Guys, it's a little bit of a different quality, but still amazing quality football. The fans are gonna love these Canadian quarterbacks a lot more than the American guys you bring up to the CFL. Yeah, man. Yeah. Therefore, as but you're right. If you market those Canadian quarterbacks, had you market those Canadian quarterbacks, they would have been drafted in the CFL. They would have been amazing. They would have been amazing quarterbacks in the CFL. All those guys, man. Yeah, man. They would have been star franchise players. But because the CFL is blind by the American, we don't really care about the Canadian guys either. And like we gotta close doors on these guys. All about the American guys. They gotta shine up here. They're not even from here, and this is not their league. Never want to be here. It's not to drink. Only here by default, guys. Don't forget that, right? Don't let me guys miss that now. Yeah. You think Trey Ford will get another shot? Maybe. He might get a shot. Maybe when Bo Levi Mitchell retires, he might get a shot. But Bo Levi Mitchell is like 35, 36 years old? He has maybe 4 years left, 5 years left in the CFL maybe. But Trey Ford might get on one more shot, but I mean, I don't know. He had a starting opportunity with the Eskimos, but he blew it. He didn't perform as well, and he had a losing. The Edmonton Eskimos had a losing season. But I believe the Edmonton Eskimos should have given Trey Ford at least 1 year to grow as a quarterback, like you do these American guys. But the CFL doesn't trust the Canadian. Yeah, we don't trust the Canadian players either. When they perform bad, we gotta replace them with the American guys either because they're blinded by the American talent. They're crazy people. That's funny, I know. Yeah. And the quarterback who replaced Trey Ford didn't do that good either. Like the Edmonton Eskimos had a losing season; they didn't make the playoffs, and then that quarterback is starting for this season because the CFL they just give the American quarterbacks more opportunities up here to shine over their best Canadian players because they downgrade the Canadian talent. Yeah, we downgrade the Canadian talent. It's not good enough, Ivan. You know what I'm saying? We gotta have the American guys shine here, Ivan. They're so talented. Yeah, they're blind by American talent. CFL, they're crazy people. Today, Trey Ford was pissed, was crushed. Of course he was. He was a starting franchise quarterback for the Edmonton Eskimos in the 2025-2026 season. Sorry, 2024-2025 season. And he didn't do that good, obviously. Yeah. But they could have given him time to grow. But like the coaches don't want to take that risk because they don't want to lose their jobs. Yeah, we don't want to lose our jobs. We got to replace him with an American guy if they perform bad, Ivan. That's why Trey Ford lost his spot. And he was obviously crushed because he was a starting Canadian quarterback, but he didn't do that good, right? But the other American quarterback didn't do good either. He didn't do any better than Trey Ford. The American guy they replaced, he didn't do good either. He was throwing picks, and the Edmonton Eskimos still had a losing season, and that quarterback gets another opportunity to start, but Trey Ford doesn't get that opportunity because I told you the Canadian players have shorter windows in the CFL. If they perform bad, they're done, and they replace them with an American. That's how it works. Because they downgrade the Canadian talent in the CFL, right? Yeah. Yeah. Why do the Canadian head coaches in the CFL have the bias too? Yes, everyone in the league has that bias. Yeah, even though like the league is Canadian, the board of governors are Canadian, the CFL commission and they're Canadian, all those guys, they have that bias. They don't think the Canadian players are good enough. That's why they bring up all the American guys. Yeah, that's why whenever they ask the CFL commissioner about Canadian quarterbacks and one more Canadian start and also the CFL commissioner, they dance around the question. They don't want to put down the Canadian talent, but they tap dance around the question because they don't want to put down the Canadian guys. But they explain it in such a way whereby they're like, yeah, they're not good enough. The CFL commission, yeah, it's serious shit, man. They downgrade the Canadian talent CFL, and the board of governors and the CFL commission, all these guys are all Canadian people. But even they're like blinded by the American talent because the bias has been passed down to the league guys for decades. This has been going on for decades. Even in the 70s, when Warren Moon played, it's been going on, man. They've been bringing out these American guys and having them be the stars up here. That's how it works. Putting on a show on television, amazing quality football, and yet the league is only peaking at $300 million. Yes, Sarah. Yeah. Yeah. All right, how good is Nathan Rook? Nathan Rook is so good. He's generational Canadian quarterback talent. You know, you have Carm Davis and Crosby. Yeah, Nathan Rook is generational Canadian talent. He's so very talented that he's actually starting in the league, and he's the best quarterback in the league, guys. He's better than all the American guys, NCAA guys he brought up here. He won the league MVP last year, right? Yeah. Passed for 5,000 yards in a season, and he had like 30 something, 35, 37 touchdowns, something crazy. He's very talented. He's generational, obviously, Canadian talent in Canada. Nathan Rook. Yeah. So there's generational talent in Canada too. Of course there is. There's also generational Canadian talent in the CFL too. The Canadian players too, obviously. There's such rare Canadian talent whereby they even outperform the American guys. Now those are the generational Canadian guys in the CFL. Obviously, like Andy Fantus, John Cornish. Those are Andrew Harris. Those are generational Canadian talent. Obviously, whereby they're even better. They're like the best players. The best players in that position to really outperform the American guys. Those are generational Canadian talent. There are a few generational Canadian talents too. Nathan Rook, John Cornish, Andrew Harris. Those are generational Canadian talent. They outperform even the American guys. Yeah. Canadian football talent, right? Rare Canadian football talent. Yeah. Yeah. Talk for maybe 10 minutes about CFL, and I'm gonna go back to talk about the SHL. Hey, wife, don't you want to be a movie star? Yes, I'm most likely gonna be a movie star, VJ, guys. That's my ultimate dream, guys. Most likely be a movie star, VJ, but I might switch to pro league. You never know. But it's risky. I can flop as a player. I don't want to take that risk. Obviously, we like I have to worry about it. If you train, you'll be a star player. Yeah, if I train, I should be a star player. If I can do what I did in that video without training, if I train hard, I can be an amazing stick handler and I can be an amazing shooter and be productive on the ice. But I can also flop. I don't want to take that risk. Obviously. Ivan, do you think you'll be a generational talent if you play in the SHL? I don't know. Maybe, most likely not. I'm a star player, but I'm not a generational talent. So I don't think I can do the stuff that Karma Davis and Igrazzi and Ovechkin did in their careers. Like, that's not normal stuff, man. Yeah. You got some Sarah? Ivan, you really practice blind passing? Yeah, I did. Obviously, when I was in the hospital 6 years ago, every time we went to the gym, when all us patients went to the gym, everyone, some people would play basketball, some people would play football, and I would like always practice hockey and practice my blind passing, backhanded blind passing. I was pretty accurate with my blind passing, pretty accurate. Yeah, because I'm naturally gifted, obviously, and I practice my backhand. My backhanders are not bad. I have to work on it, but they're pretty good. My wrist shots are pretty good, but it's my slap shots. My backhanders and wrist shots are not bad, but my slap shots I have to work on that. Every time when I slap shot the ball, it's an amazing slap shot, but it always goes low. The ball doesn't go higher. I have to work on that, honestly. Yeah. Or I was, oh yeah, you gotta train, man. You gotta train hard. I have to do intense training for like 3 years. Just train hard, and hopefully I can keep up with the best players in the world. I have the genes that these players don't have. I know how you guys are saying, yeah. But doesn't mean I'll pick at the level. Yeah. 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 Why is the CFL high quality football? Yes, it is. It's almost as good as the NFL. I don't know, like a 12% dip in quality from the NFL to CFL. It's a little bit of a dip in quality, but it's high quality football, almost as good as the NFL. And they're very entertaining, exciting games, the CFL. Yeah, even they are. Yeah, it's high quality, very entertaining football, the CFL. And you've been putting on high quality football for decades, CFL, and yet no one in Canada really cares that much, man. So it's like, obviously something is not right. Either they just don't care about Canadian football, there is no market for it. That's why you're struggling, which could be the answer. That's why CFL's struggling with growth, or they don't really care about your American star players, mainly your quarterbacks, right? They don't really care about your American star quarterbacks who you're marketing to them. Obviously, it's amazing product, CFL, that you're trying to sell to the Canadian people, but they're unfamiliar with the product you're trying to sell. Because you just bring up guys from the States, from a different country, and have them be the stars up here. And you market them to the people of Canada, and you rely blindly on their talent to grow the league, obviously, but like, no one in Canada really cares, and you're not seeing much growth, obviously. So obviously something's not right. Whereas if you market 9 Canadian franchise quarterbacks to the people of Canada, you market the universities, I guarantee more people will tune in. Maybe 500,000 more people will be tuning in by your first season. 400. The first season, you might get 800,000 people, 900,000 people tuning into your games. And then by 15 years, you're now averaging 2 million people tuning in, and your league grew. And TSN will give you more money, and your league's making $500 million a year in revenue. You pay the star Canadian players more money. They're going to get bigger endorsement deals. More sponsors will be going to sponsor your league because you're now marketing Canadian homegrown talent. As the Canadians have higher marketability value than the American guys you bring up here, obviously, because they're Canadian, they're homegrown talent. That's how your league grows. I have your genes, I know. But CFL thinks if the quality dips, the rating, and because the quality will dip a little bit, the ratings are going to dip, Ivan. Less people be interested. Nah, CFL, it's not about the quality of your game. Because you put on high quality football, CFL, for decades, man. The American guys you bring up here at CFL are putting on a show on television. Obviously. Like they are. Like I've seen the games. They put on a show, man. One-handed catches, like amazing moves from the running backs and everything. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's entertaining football. The quarterbacks that you bring up here in the CFL, amazing quarterbacks you bring up here in the CFL, they put on a show, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, they do. Yeah, they put on a show. It's high quality football, and yet no one in Canada cares. So it's like, it's obviously not about the quality of your game. It has to be something else, right? Like, duh. I hear genes. I know. It's not about the quality of your game. Yeah. Like, you're such a fucking dick, man. Like, you're embarrassing us, Ivan, the Warrior Guards. Like, you're making us look like fools in front of the world. Well, you guys get what you deserve, man. You've been doing this for decades. Enough is enough, man. The CFL does deserve to be exposed because you're the only pro league that does this. Whereby you're envious of another country's talent and you're biased towards another country's talent over your own talent, your own Canadian talent. You don't think your own Canadian talent's good enough to put on good quality football for people for Canada. Obviously. I guarantee you all you Canadian football players didn't know that. I didn't know that, man. Well, guys, there's a reason why the CFL starts all the American guys because they don't trust you, man. They don't think you're good enough to put on good quality football if you can. That's why they have the American guys start. Like, duh, that's why they do that. Yeah, all right, that's why we do that. It's not good enough. No, guys, it's good quality football. It's just not on the NFL level. So I'm sorry. I don't hate you guys. I'm saying that. Ivan, what's the dip in quality from the best American talent in the NFL to the best Canadian talent in Canada? About, I don't know, 14% dip in quality around there. A little bit of a significant dip in quality. Yeah, Ivan, it's a little bit of a significant dip, obviously. But still great quality football. But CFL, because they're blind by the American, yeah, Ivan, like the best Canadian players are amazing players, but when we compare it to the NFL, it's a bit of a letdown, Ivan. It's a bit of a significant dip in quality. It's not good enough. Obviously, yeah, they think it's not good enough for the people of Canada. They don't trust their own Canadian, their best Canadian talent. It's sad. Ivan, that's cold. I know. Ivan, that's cold. That's cold, man. I know it's cold, son. Yeah, it's cold, man. That's cold, man. I know. That's sad. I know. Yeah. I guarantee you, even you American football fans are like, yeah, Ivan, that's very weird. Like the CFL is the only pro league that does that. Like all the pro leagues in the world, the best players playing in that league are the draft picks from that country. Like you have a pro football league in Japan. All the star players are the best Japanese players and football players in Japan. Best players in the NFL are the best American players. Best players in NFL Europe are the best European football players. The CFL, they draft the best Canadian players, but they just choose to just bring up all these leftover guys who are not the best players in America. Don't hate me, guys. And have them be the stars up here. When this was not their dream, and they never really want to be here, and they become legends, and the fans respect them and everything, and they love them. They respect them a lot for what they did up here. Even I respect the CFL legends for what they did. I really do. They killed up here and everything, but like I know this was not their dream, so it's tough to resonate these guys, right? Like they're legends in the league that they never really wanted to play in, so it's tough to resonate these guys. That's why the fans don't really care that much about these American CFL legends that much, because they know this was not their dream. The fans don't even care that much about Warren Moon, because Warren Moon, even though he's a legend up here in the CFL, he used your CFL to get an NFL shot, man. He won 5 straight Grey Cups with the Edmonton Eskimos back in the 70s. With the Edmonton Eskimos, and after that he left to the NFL. You would think after having a successful career in the CFL, winning 5 straight championships, he would stay in the CFL, and yet he still left to the NFL, because this was not Warren Moon's dream, man. His dream was not playing the CFL. I guarantee Warren Moon told CFL offered Warren Moon a lot of money, and then Warren Moon told him, "I'm sorry, guys, this is not my dream. My dream is not playing here. My dream's playing in the NFL." Yes, man. All the American guys who you bring up here CFL are here by default. The dream is not playing here. But CFL doesn't care because they're blinded by the red eye. We don't care, man. We don't care if this was not the dream. We never want to be here, man. We gotta be eyes up and have these stars. But the American tell, yeah, they're crazy people, man. That's funny, I know. Yeah. Yeah. Take a shower after this. You see who is sick. I know they're sick, obviously. You're gifted with wisdom. Yes, I have the wisdom of God. That's why I know how to blow your mind with my videos, right? Yeah, that's why the board guards, yeah, I mean, you're such a fucking dick, man. You're embarrassing us in front of the world to see. Well, the CFL deserves to be exposed for the world to see, because you've been doing this for decades, CFL. This is not right. This is a Canadian football brand. It's Canada. Why are you having all these American guys in the States who never want to be the stars up here instead of your best Canadian players? Like, yeah. The reason why I do it, Ivan, is because they're very talented, Ivan. The American guy. Yeah, the CFL obviously believes the American guy, the leftover American guys in the States, deserve to shine up here and be legends up here in Canada over their best Canadian players who they drafted. So it's very tough for the fans to take your league, the Canadians to take your league seriously, obviously. Yeah, barely any of our draft picks are CFL legends. All the legends are all these guys who are undrafted from another country. They're the legends up here instead of our own draft picks who we drafted in our own league. So it's like, it's tough to take your league seriously, CFL. You wonder why our league's not growing. Well, you guys been saying, yeah, the undrafted amazing American talent from America, the majority of them are the stars, and the majority of those guys are the legends in your Canadian Football League instead of your own best Canadian players who you drafted. Barely any of them are legends, are all bust picks. And these undrafted guys from a different country who you just bring up here are the legends up here in Canada. And this was not their dream. Their dream was not playing here. Like, yeah, very weird. Yeah. And all you see of legend on top of, yeah, Ivan, you're right, man. Like, even though we're legends up here, and the fans love us, they respect what we did up here, we killed up here. Yeah, the fans respect what you guys did up here, and you killed up here, guys, and the fans love you. I get that. This was not your dream. Yeah, Ivan, this is not our dream. We never want to play here. Yeah, man, you're only here by default, guys. All these guys are all here by default. Yeah, there you go. Don't hate them. Yeah, they're here by default, right? They're here by default. There you go. Don't hate them, guys. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's fun, I know. Well, the American players let the fans know this is not the dream. Yeah, when they do documentaries about the star, why does CFL do documentaries? Because the fans don't know anything about these guys. That's why the CFL does documentaries. That way they give you a little bit of history about these guys' history, because the fans don't know anything about these guys. They do a documentary, and every time I do a documentary, the American players always say in the documentary, I see this all the time in the documentaries, yeah, I was undrafted in the NFL. It's an amazing, beautiful story. I get that. They're CFL stars now. They're successful. I get that. But they say, like, yeah, like, I didn't get drafted in the NFL. You know what I'm saying? I got a call from Wally Bono, and I got an opportunity to play football up here. Yeah. So they're letting you know this was not their dream CFL. Yeah, we know that. We don't care. They're very talented. We got to bring these guys up around having stars. But yeah, they're blind by the American talent CFL. They're crazy people. But that's fun, I know. Yeah. Alright, do they do documentaries about Canadian players? Yeah, like a few players when they become stars, but it's barely any Canadian players. It's all the American guys. There's barely any Canadian stars, man. It's all the American guys, right? That's why they do documentaries about the American guys. And they try to move you. It's a touching, moving story. Like, you have the music and they move you with the story, and they give you history of what high school this American player played at. This player played at Michigan University or something like that. I'm saying in the NCAA. He was undrafted in the NFL draft, and they say, yeah, I didn't get to play in the NFL. They even say my dream was playing in the NFL and all that stuff, but I got an opportunity to play pro football up here. That's what they say. Because this was not their dream, obviously. That's why it's tough to resonate with these guys, man. I can't take them seriously, right? Yeah, you can't really resonate with these American guys you bring up here, right? See if it brings up here. And some of those guys who they do a documentary about, when they try to move you and market them to the Canadian people, they're CFL stars. Some of those guys leave to the NFL, so it's tough to take the league seriously, right? Like, you can't resonate with these guys, right? Yeah, man. They leave to the NFL. Solomon Eliminian is a good example. He was a star linebacker for the BC Lions. They did a documentary about him. I saw the documentary. He's like, yeah, I didn't make it in the NFL, and I got a call from Wally Bono. Wally Bono called me, and I got an opportunity to play pro football up here. And they you know what I'm saying? And then, like, they move you with the story. They didn't get drafted in the NFL, and now they're CFL stars, and they show clips of them doing amazing plays on TV and everything. And they move you, obviously. And then, like, 3 years later, whatever it is, he leaves to the NFL. So it's like, yeah, and you want to market those guys, CFL, the Canadian people, and try to grow your league with the Canadian people. and you hopefully your league grows, but you're not getting any growth, so obviously something's not right. Williams, and yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, very weird way of growing the league, man. To the Canadian people, CFL, your Canadian Football League, to the Canadian people, with amazing American product that you're selling to the people, but they're unfamiliar product that you're trying to sell to the Canadian people. The fans are clueless about these guys, and some of these guys use the CFL as a farm to get on an NFL shot. So it's like, I'm saying, you want to grow the league with those guys, CFL, instead of your best Canadian players who actually dream of playing here. This is their dream, CFL. Their dream is actually playing up here. It's not playing in the NFL. The CFL's for the Canadian football players. The NFL's for the American football players. But you choose to just bring up all these American guys up here and have them be the stars when this was not their dream. And you want to market those guys Canadian people, and you wonder why the league's not growing. Yeah, there you go. I'm your cheese, I know. Wisdom of God. It was not about that. But hopefully the league grows. So I could be wrong. Maybe the American town is the way, even though I highly doubt it. Hopefully the league can grow with the American town, this obviously for the CFL, right? Yeah. Yeah. How much money you have to put towards your SCHL Pro Hockey League? Like $33 million of my money, something crazy. Why? You might not make enough money. Yeah, I might. No, I will. I have the keys again. Like me saying 20, 30 billion off my book is me being humble. I have the keys. I'm probably going to make my 50 to even 80 billion off the book. Something crazy. I have the keys to the kingdom. That's just me being humble. He's like, yeah, you're being humble. You have the keys. I mean, I have the keys to the kingdom, guys. I'll have more enough money to start the league. I don't want to spend $30 million into the league and I flop as a player. That's the thing, though, right? I shouldn't flop. I should be a star player. The board goes, well, yeah, you got to train, man. You got to train power skating, stick handling, shooting, and that's how you become a star player in your league, even with the other franchise star players in your league. Because I will be the face of the league if I'm a star player with the other franchise star players. Feature on the magazines with them. The press will be interviewing me with the star players mainly, and they're going to be talking about me and all the star players. That's how it works. Obviously. Yeah. I'll put $1 billion towards each of the SHL arenas. That way I build state-of-the-art facilities for the players. And nice offices for the presidents and the GMs and the coaches, obviously. Yeah. Practice facility and the main. Have a practice facility and the main arena facility where the players practice, and you have the main arena where they play. And a state-of-the-art gym where they work out. A big gym. Like, build a huge gym, guys. Where all like 18 pro athletes for each team can work out in the offseason. Yeah. Weight training, all that stuff. State-of-the-art gym, right? All the best equipment, gym equipment, everything. A luxury locker room. Build a nice luxury, amazing locker room for the players. Obviously. And create updated SHL skates, sticks, all that stuff for the players. It's a lot of money, but that stuff is cheaper in cost, right? Yeah. Yeah. That's Messiah. That stuff is cheaper in cost. Yeah. Helmets, SHL helmets, SHL padding, obviously. And you also have to design all the jerseys too. It's a lot of work. The away jerseys, the home jerseys. You want to design, upgrade the jerseys too. That way they look nicer. With this budget, you can create amazing jerseys for each of the teams. Team logos, team names, a lot of work. You have to come up with all that, man. Board guys will handle all that for me. And VJ will be in the room with me, right? If I said I'm wrong. I'm most likely a movie star, guys. Yeah. VJ will be in the room with me, with the Board of Governors. I'm going to tell them all the rules for the salary and everything. Yeah, the board guy was, Ivan, so you want to balance out their deals? Yes. I don't want to have these guys dupe me. Yeah, Ivan, they're not worth this. Yeah, the board guys, yeah, Ivan, even Sidney Crosby, Carmer, Dave, they play in the league are not worth that kind of money. Yeah, even those guys are not worth that kind of money. I'm not having these guys dupe me, man. Overpay them. Yeah. You don't want to sign a generational talent to a $450 million deal for his career earnings in 10 seasons, and after that he gets another deal like that. That athlete just made $900 million. They're not worth that, Ivan. They duped you. You overpaid them and they're ripping you off, man. Okay? After they get their mega 8-10 year deal, they're not allowed to get that paycheck again. They're not allowed to get league revenue. Okay, I would put that in the rule. Obviously. Yeah. If the GMs do that, they breach the rule and they breach the cap rule. And they get fined, and I can let them off with a warning. They can get fired. You can't do that, guys. You're overpaying the players, and you won't have enough cap space to pay upcoming newer players their bigger deals too. So you have to balance it out, balance out their career earnings. That way they don't dupe me, man. And they don't dupe you guys. You don't want to have the athletes dupe the GMs too, and the GMs don't have any cap space to pay the upcoming new draft picks their mega deal. They have to get paid to those guys, not just both. Those guys already had their time to shine. They made all that money. Now you have to take sacrifices for the newer guys who are drafted into the league, right? That's how it works. That way you create cap space. I know your shit. Yeah, I know my shit, guys. I know my shit. The war guy was, man, you're smart, man. You know your shit. Yeah, Ivan, they're not worth that. Yeah, Ivan, they're not worth that money, Ivan. Like, you're overpaying them, and we can't afford. Yeah, you can't afford to pay all these guys that kind of money, man. Like, you're gonna drain the cap, man. Can't afford to pay these guys that, right? Yeah. Yeah, Ivan, how much money do you want to pay the players for per dime? Pay them $130 a day. So if they stay in a hotel for 2 days, they get like their $130 a day. That way they can pay for their dinner. Go to the bar, have a beer. That's enough money for the players. Because I'm already paying them enough money, right? You want them staying at luxury hotel suites, Ivan? No. Standard hotels. Not suites. Have them stay at suites, you're going to drain the budget, the team budget. Because each team will have a budget of maybe $450 million a season around there to pay all the bills. So it's like if you have them stay at suites, you're going to drain the budget, obviously, right? Ivan, you want press? Ivan, you have to hire press. Yeah, have a 15, 16 press team for each team. And then the main press team for the SHL, the main SHL press. And you have the press team for each team that interviews the coaches, the players in the conference room during training camp, all that stuff. Photographers, you have to hire photographers to take pictures for the game, for the press interviews. When players sign contracts, when players get traded, they take pictures. And the press are responsible for writing all the news on the team website, a bunch of news. When they interview the players, the written interview, they're responsible for writing all that. I'll start them off at $200K, and guys who are experienced can make $300K. Yeah. Guys from Sarah? What about cameras? Get the best of the best 4K cameras for the games, for the broadcasting games. Yeah. Guys, can we upgrade? Yeah, Ivan, we can get the best of the best. Honestly, and upgrade the cameras for focus and have speakers for better broadcasting live gaming experience when they watch the games. Obviously, the SHL games, obviously. Yeah. Season ticket holders, Ivan. Charge them the same amount of money the NHL charges the fans. That way the league makes money. And if the people who want to watch online, they charge them $180 for unlimited access for all their team games. If they want complete unlimited access for all the games for each team, charge them $300. the way the league makes money, and sell the magazines for like $20. That way the league makes money. You sell the merch and you sell the food concessions, and the beer and the alcohol for the fans attending the game. That's how the league makes money. And I'm also going to make a game, and I'll be selling the game too, and that's how the league makes its billions, obviously. I don't know, 100, like 40, 50 billion a season revenue. That's why the players want to raise. Yeah, we want to raise, man. It's not fair. The league's making like 140 billion a season revenue. You're pulling in your like 90 billion a season, 85 billion a season. We want to raise. I mean, my guys, you're not worth a 300 million. Sorry, I'm not having that stupid money. You're not worth that. And then you analyze on blah blah. Yeah, Ivan, you're right, man. Like we want to raise. The players will want to raise, but we're not. Yeah, you guys are not worth that, man. I'm not gonna have good players make 20 million in my league. They're not worth that, guys. They rip me off. Yeah, you're overpaying them, Ivan. They're ripping you off, man. You get paid for what you're worth, guys, right? That's how it works in this world, right? Yeah, but Ivan, it's peanuts. Yes, it's peanuts, guys, but they're not worth this, guys. I'm not gonna have these athletes do me, man. They're not worth this. There you go. Yeah. Even Vigil told me, yeah, Ivan, 300 million for a cap is crazy. Like they're not worth that, Ivan. Yeah, they're not worth that, man. The NBA cap is at $150 million, and my cap is going to get $200 million. My cap is higher than even the NBA salary cap, but it's not higher than the NFL salary cap. But there's contracts. Even though the NFL salary cap is like $270 million, the teams have more players to pay. They have to pay like 44 man roster, whatever it is, players to pay. So that's why they have to raise it higher, because they have more players to pay. But for a hockey team, you only have about 18 players on each team, 17, 18 players on each team. So 200 million is enough money to make sure all those 17, 18 players get paid good money, especially the star players. That's enough. Don't peak any higher than 32 million for the players. Yeah, that's good enough. They're not worth any more. Yeah, I'm not going to pay a non-generational talent player $40 million. They're not worth that, man. 32 million is the peak. But once I raise the cap, I'll raise it to maybe 30, 34, or 35 million. They can peak at maybe 35 million. I'll give them small little raises, the players. But I'm not going to have a substantial raise whereby these hockey athletes are duping me, man. And I'm overpaying them and they're duping me, man. Guys and Sarah? Yeah. What about coaches, Ivan? Coaches don't peak any higher than 20 million, but I will give the coaches raises too after the next bargaining agreement for the SHLPA. I will give the coaches raises too, but don't peak any higher than 20 million for the coaches, and don't peak any don't go any lower than 5 million. 5 million a season for a coach starting out my league is a good paycheck for the coach. NHL, they peak at like maybe $6-7 million in coaches, $8 million the NHL coaches peak at around there, maybe 10 million the NHL they peak at around there, right? Well, play guys. Play guys, you can start them off at $300K a season. They get their per dimes too when they're staying in a hotel, and they get their hotels paid for and their flights paid for. And don't peak any higher than $750K for the play guys. They're not worth it. They're not worth it millions. If they want like 2-3 million, I'm like, guys, you're not worth this, man. I'm not gonna overpay you guys. You're not the product on the ice. You're not worth this. Yeah. Yeah. What about the GMs, Ivan? The GMs don't peak any higher than 20 million for those guys too. That's good enough for the GMs, obviously. And the presidents don't peak any higher than 30 million for those guys, because the presidents are the one running each team. They're handling all the business behind the scenes and everything. So they don't peak any higher than 30 million, and start them off at $50 million salary, obviously. And the presidents get league revenue because they deserve, because they're running each team. But the GMs and coaches don't get league revenue, but they get winning bonuses, anywhere from $10,000 to $30,000 in winning bonuses. So every game you win, you get your $10,000 to $30,000 bonus. The coaches, excluding their already rich paycheck they're making. If they make it to the championship game and they win the game, they get a $1 million bonus. That's good, obviously. And the losing coach gets like maybe $300K bonus. Because he made the championship, he gets paid, but he lost the championship. That coach gets $300,000. The assistant coaches, you can give them a $100,000 bonus. And the losing assistant coach, you can pay them maybe $40,000 for making the championship. And the assistant coaches start them off at $400,000. Don't peak any higher than maybe $1 million for those guys. That's good enough for those guys. That's how much they're worth. They're not worth any more than that. And they don't get league revenue either. Yeah. That's a good deal. Yeah. So Sarah, you have to plan everything out with the Board of Governors. 13 teams in Canada, 12 teams in the States. Yeah, that's how it works. It's a lot of work. Yeah, it'll take a good 6 years before the league starts. Because we got to build all the arenas and hire all these guys. Yeah, it's crazy. And the SHL scouts have to scout the best players in Canada, America, and the States, and you have your first SHL draft. They also got to sign quite a bit of undrafted free agents who didn't get drafted. And they're also going to be grabbing some NHL players who are free agents. They're going to end up playing in my league too. Some of the veteran players, right? A good chunk of them are going to be ending up in my league. In the new generation, veteran players in like, I don't know, 15 years from now, whatever it is, right? Yeah. Guys and Sarah? Yeah. It's a lot of work. What about for generational talent like Ovechkin, Sidney Crosby, Connor David? If an upcoming generational talent, rare talent, if there's like 3 rare talent upcoming in the league, don't peak any higher than $50 million for those guys, and don't. Obviously, you can pay them a bit more, 30 plus million to $50 million. But it's up to the GM however much they want to pay the player. If the GM wants to pay a generational talent $30 million, they can pay them that if they want. But chances are, if the generational talent and they demand $40-50 million, the GMs will pay them that because they're worth the money. They're very talented, and they're a huge part of the success of the team. And they put on more of a show on television, so they're worth more money. Those guys, but they're not worth any more than $50 million, guys. And you have to balance it out, guys. Right? They only get that for 2 seasons. They don't peak any higher than $20 million league revenue. Right? I'm not gonna have these guys do me. The generational talent makes $140 million for 2 seasons. That's enough. Now they have to take pay cuts. You got to bring it down, their salary down to $35 million. $50 million for 2 seasons, and you bring it down to $35 million for another 2 seasons. Even pay them $35 million for 3 seasons. That way they get paid a lot of money. And you bring it down to like $27 million for another 2 seasons. And the final season they make like $22 million. They still made like their $350, almost $400 million for their league revenue and earnings. The generational players. And that's enough money for them. And after that, they have to take pay cuts. But they're so productive players, they can still make their 13, 11, 12, 10 million a season. But they don't get league revenue anymore, guys. And they don't get their magazine deal, obviously. Or they could get magazine deals, but they're smaller deals, like $250,000, $500,000 deals. The way they don't do it. They already made enough money. Now they have to take pay cuts. How it works. Even the generational talents are not worth that, man. I'm not gonna have those guys do it, me, man. No fucking way. You made your $450 million. I'm not gonna pay you another $400 million, $50 million deal. I'm not even gonna pay you another $200 million deal because you're overpaying them and they're ripping you off. They have to take pay cuts. Yeah, they signed like 3-year, $30 million deals. They make $10 million a season. That's still good, man. That's how much star players making NHL, obviously. David peaks at $12 million in NHL as a star generational player. Crosby only makes $8 million. So if you're making $10 million after your prime, that's still good money. But they're not making the money they made before. But some athletes are greedy. All right, man, I want the money. Guys, I know you want the money you made before. You're not going to get that money again, guys. I'm not going to have you guys do it like that, man. No fucking way. Don't have you guys be saying, yeah. Fuck you, Irish. You're a fucking dick. But guys, man, I don't need to be rude. You're not worth that, man. I'm not going to overpay you guys. Have you do me, man. Sarah? Yeah, but it's peanuts. Yes, it's peanuts compared to how much money I'm making, but these athletes are not worth that, guys. I'm not going to have these guys do me, man. Even Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady and Michael Jordan are not worth that kind of money. They're not worth that. Wayne Gretzky and Marilyn Monroe are not even worth that money. They're not worth it. I'm not going to have these athletes do me, man. Sarah? Yeah. Fuck you, Irish. You're a fucking dick, man. You're a fucking greedy pig. Yes, guys, I may be a greedy pig, but I'm generous. I'm making sure you're getting paid. You're not worth this, guys. I'm not going to have these athletes do me, man. They're not worth that kind of money, man. I'm not going to have these guys do me. I'll have you guys, yeah. VJ will tell me, yeah, you don't want to have these athletes dupe us, VJ. I'm not gonna have these guys dupe me, man. That's why I'm gonna put that in the rule. The way I don't have these guys dupe me. Because if you don't put that in the rule, Ivan, there's a high chance, like, you know what I'm saying, you have a generational talent, they made like $450 million, and the team signs them to another like $200 million deal. They're not worth that, Ivan. They're ripping you off and they're duping you. You're overpaying them, Ivan. Yeah, Ivan, you're not going to have those hockey athletes dupe you. I'm like, nah, I'm not going to have those hockey athletes dupe me. No way, man. They're not worth that kind of money, man. Emma. Yeah. But the players will be happy. Yeah, I mean, like, even though you're greedy paying, you're making all that dough. Like, we can't complain. Like, you're making sure. Yeah, I'm making sure you're getting paid, guys. You don't make this in the NHL. So accept the deal and you sign your mega deal. You make your 200, 250, 300, 400 million dollars in career earnings after your mega deal. That's enough money for you to retire and never have to work again. And you get to be a star player in my league with all that buzz and hype, and you'll be living a life with me and other players in your team with the parties and yeah, it's a deal. That's fair. Even though you're greedy to pay, yeah, you're generous. Yes, I'm generous, guys. Make sure you're getting paid, man. If you want more money, I'm not gonna have you guys do me, right? I'm gonna keep saying that. Yeah. Just like for Sky says with the Hollywood actors, I'm not gonna have Keanu and all these actors do me. I'm not gonna have these hockey athletes do me either. That's how it works, right? I'm not gonna have these guys do me. That's for the actual bully, I show the water. Anyways, guys, this is where guys on the show. So I'm saying out. Peace out, guys. I'm gonna take my shower. I'm gonna enjoy the show with you guys. Peace out, guys. Hope you guys enjoy my acid show and my CFL show. Peace out, guys. Don't hit me, guys. Peace. I show in the NHL. Peace out, guys.